Hello and welcome to the Everything Is Black and White podcast. Hope you guys are all doing well. Just a quick match verdict after Newcastle United beat Manchester United 4-1 up at St James's Park. I'm just in the multi-story now, just reflecting on what a wonderful afternoon it has been for the Magpies. Up to fourth now, point behind Nottingham Forest in third with a game in hand. That, of course, comes here at St James's Park on Wednesday against Crystal Palace. But what a result for Newcastle United this afternoon. To do it without Eddie Howe, who of course has been ill, and we wish him well, but to do it without your manager on the touchline, what a result. And to go up against a team in which you haven't had the best of records against in the past 20, 30 years. I know recently it's been a little bit different, but still, for some, the task of facing Manchester United, at least in badge, name and history, can be a little bit daunting. But Newcastle United punished them today, and it was wonderful to see. They were the better side across both halves. Okay, Man United managed to get a late equaliser in the first half, and they went into half-time level. But you always felt Newcastle United just had to maintain that level that they produced in the first half, bring that into the second 45, and they would win the game, and they did do, and it was a really good victory. It could have ended more than 4 goals to Newcastle United, to be honest. Manchester United's goal came against the run of play as well, but Newcastle, had they scored maybe 6 or 7, you wouldn't have been surprised at all. And it is a massive 3 points in the race for Champions League football for next season, because Aston Villa won 3-0 at Southampton, and because Manchester City won yesterday as well. Newcastle United knew they had to win this game against Manchester United, and they did do. Okay, the result between Chelsea and Ipswich played in Newcastle United's hands as well, which was fantastic to see. So a really good boost there. I think before the kick-off, they would have been aware of that scoreline, and the message probably would have been added to, go out and make sure you capitalise on Chelsea dropping points. But more than anything, just do this for Eddie Howe. Go out there and show what this team is all about. And they did it, and they did it so well. The first goal coming from Sandro Tonali, and what a goal it was, by the way. I mean, that is in there for goal of the month. Wonderful ball over the top from Alexander Isak, and Tonali, what a finish by the Italian international. I mean, that was hit with some power from a short distance from the goal as well. Gets the direction into the bottom corner. Beautiful finish. And Newcastle United, had they been 2 or 3 up by that point, probably wouldn't have looked it wouldn't have looked an unrealistic scoreline. They really started, as the game actually has ended, in terms of getting the goals. They were a threat. They were really pushing Manchester United. Tino Livramento again having lots of joy down the left. But more than anything, across the entirety of the game, it was just one side wanted it more. One side looked organised, looked like they knew what the instruction was, looked like they knew what they were doing, and had that desire and want and commitment. Whereas Manchester United had none of it. They looked all at sea. They really looked like a team in trouble. And they've got to be thankful, I think, that there are 3 terrible teams below them in them relegation places that are just terrible and haven't picked up enough points this season, because they would really be looking over their shoulder. They are a terrible side. That being said, you've got to beat what's in front of you, and Newcastle United did just that. Now look, first off, I felt Newcastle United were the better side that dominated. Couple of chances for Manchester United, and Nick Pope pulled off a really good save. Then they get a late equaliser, as I've mentioned, and it was a really poor goal to concede. And it was important to see how Newcastle United reacted from that. Obviously, with the half-time whistle coming, maybe it was the right time to regroup and refocus, and then to come back out and score as early as they did in the second half. Harvey Barnes tapping home from another Jacob Murphy assist. I mean, Harvey Barnes, brilliant movement. He's not going to miss from there. Puts it home. Brilliant way to get back control of the game. And from that moment forward, it only looked like one side was really going to win. I'm being honest, it looked like Newcastle United were the only side that were going to win in the first half as well. But to get that goal so early on was really important. And then, the third goal from Harvey Barnes, really special as well. And what was nice about that moment is that, he's had some stick. He's had some criticism, price tag. Is he going to live up to this near 40 million price tag that they paid for him? And in recent weeks, he's been absolutely brilliant. All this question about whether Barnes drops out for Anthony Gordon, it's put to bed. It's just put to bed, in my opinion. I don't see how you can drop Harvey Barnes. I really don't. After today's performance, I don't see how you can do that. And that second goal was absolutely superb from him. Capitalises on a bit of a mistake, runs on through. He's got 2 defenders. He has to be strong. And then to whip his foot around it and get it into the corner. Again, short distance, not a lot of distance to the goal. Powerful, brilliant finish. and great to see. And he was brilliant all afternoon, plenty of running, he was direct. Him and Livramento down the left, forming a real partnership. If they can continue that going into pre-season, it's going to be interesting to see what happens when Lewis Hall comes back fit. Is he going to be able to get in ahead of Livramento, because he's performing so well on that left. And another 8 out of 10 performance today, I would say, at the very least, from Livramento. So confident going forward, brilliant coming back as well. Looks composed, he looks disciplined. Really, really good performance from him. And like I say, that performance, that relationship with Harvey Barnes is just going from strength to strength. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But brilliant for Eddie Howe to have this dilemma of it. Is it Gordon? Is it Barnes? Of is it Hall? Is it Livramento going forward? And obviously Kieran Trippier is keeping that right back spot his own. And again, another top performance from him. So if they can keep him at the club in the summer, and we are thinking a bit bigger here, we are thinking longer term, the battle for places is going to be really, really good and really beneficial for Newcastle United. The fourth goal comes from Bruno Guimaraes, who I actually thought had a bit of a quiet game. I thought in the first half he was giving the ball away a little bit too much, and his decision making was a little bit off. But he picked up, I thought, in the 42nd, 45, and then gets his goal. Really composed finish. The ball comes to him, he's got to react quick. The keeper then tries to make himself big to recover from his mistake, and Bruno just pops it into the back, and that really solid finish from him. And another goal as well. We need to see more goals from the midfield, but with Tonali and Bruno both getting on the score sheet, we are seeing that. Joe Linton, another solid performance from him. The tank in the middle. Thankfully, he got substituted when he did, because I think he might have picked up that yellow card, which would serve him a 2-match ban. He got really angry just before he was subbed off at Ugarte. Thankfully, Bruno managed to calm him down and took him down the tunnel, because they came off together, and he avoided a yellow card, which would see him miss 2 games. But a good performance from him. And look, a good performance really from everybody across the board. I mean, Manchester United are terrible. Their forwards are pitiful. Bruno Fernandes is just awful as well. I mean, at least today, he's not helped by those around them, but I thought Dan Burn, Fabian Schär again, really good, because they were trying to go long. Zirkzee, trying to be the target man. It didn't happen from Burn and Schär, both really dominating in the air. And then that when the substitution happened, he didn't really do much either. But they were good, Fabian Schär and Dan Burn, without having too much to do. But they had to win those aerial duels, and they did that absolutely perfectly. We mentioned Jacob Murphy on the right getting another assist. Alexander Isak, ladies and gents, very, very quiet. Not really showing himself in the past few weeks. But what is brilliant about that, of course, we'd like to see him scoring week in, week out. But what is good about him not scoring is the fact Newcastle are still winning and scoring goals. They've got threats from across the pitch. So while Alexander Isak has maybe been a bit quiet for our liking, other players are stepping up to the plate and proving that they can carry that goal threat and can put the ball in the back of the net and help Newcastle United hopefully get into the Champions League for next season. And that's really good that Newcastle have got these options and they're not just relying on one man. Now, I was having this discussion actually during the game about Bruno Fernandes. He is a good player. He's probably the only player that would stand a chance of getting into this Newcastle United midfield, and that's being generous. But you look at how PSG are doing now when Mbappe's not there. They've just grown and become this real force because they haven't got that star man. They've got good players, but there's not one man that all the attention's focused on. And I wonder if Manchester United, could they cash in on Bruno Fernandes and rebuild and start again, and maybe take away a bit of the attention from one man and become a team? And that's what Newcastle United have got. They're a team. It's not just focused on one man. It's not just focused on Isak or Tonali or Bruno. They're a team. They're a team of stars. It's not just one man grabbing the headlines and grabbing the attention. And that is so key, I think, going forward. And that's what's going to make the summer transfer window really interesting as well. Can they find the right personalities to fit into this squad where it doesn't become about them because of the cost, 70, 80 million pounds. It's still about the team. They're united. That's going to be key for me going into the summer. And look, it looks at the moment, touch wood, that Newcastle United will be going into the summer offering Champions League football. Should we whisper quiet or should we be a bit optimistic? We should be realistic, probably is the right word. Newcastle United are fourth, point behind Forest with the game in hand. If they can beat Palace on Wednesday, they will go third, and deservedly so. And their running is kinder than other teams around. Look, that Villa game is going to be really, really important on Saturday coming up. But if they can go into that game in third, having beat Palace, wow, what a position they are in. Look, Eddie Howe won't want any complacency. Hopefully, he'll be back for that Villa game. I can't see him being back for Wednesday against Palace. I think that'll come too soon. But hopefully, he'll be back in the dugout for that game against Aston Villa on Saturday. But wherever Eddie Howe is right now, whether he's at hospital, whether he's at home, I hope he enjoyed that. And and I hope he's resting up well, but that will definitely be some sort of help, some sort of tonic to whatever is bothering him at the moment, and we wish him well. But yeah, I'm sure he's feeling a little bit better now. Fingers crossed he is anyway. Thanks to Newcastle United getting all 3 points against Manchester United. 4-1, and the first league double since the 1930-1931 campaign. There we go, ladies and gents. Not even John Gibson was around for that. What a moment. What an afternoon on Tyneside. Newcastle United 4, Manchester United 1. Thank you very much. And join me for the Monday show, a bit more in-depth analysis on what happened today. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. It's been a pleasure as always, and I'll see you guys very soon.